Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the AC factory that is the Wrestle Plug podcast. I am, of course, the host, proprietor, and owner of this shitfest. I am, of course, the Egyptian Death Machine, Aeron X, King of Shithousery. Hooray! Me, I'm bold and fat and I'm angry, and that means that I've got a podcast and people can whinge on the internet. Yeah! About wrestling. Yeah! Right, joining me this week is a delectable fatal four of professional wrestling's finest and an Indian. So, good
Which
stuff.
one?
Wait, where? Jesus Christ, which one? Fucking hell. Yeah, because the first thing that people are going to do when they watch this podcast is go, I wonder which one's the Indian. That's gonna be, it's definitely, yeah. Fucking, to be fair, we can all, why is he doing his tash? I have no idea. Anyway,
I ain't got a touch to fucking do that with.
joining us, ladies and gentlemen, is one half of Death Ray, of course, the absolute goddess of professional wrestling. That is Athena Ray.
Hi. How is everyone doing today?
Marvelous. I like how you just turn. And before the podcast, she's like, "Aerial cunts, I'll fucking kill all of you." And then as soon as this starts rolling, hi guys, how's it going? I love the wrestling.
I'll bring more energy.
Amazing. And speaking of women, or lack thereof, ladies and gentlemen, the man who puts the wood in Bollywood, the man whose hard drive quite literally could travel halfway around Jimmy Savile's estate, the man who is the extra on the list of Epstein Island. He is, of course, the brown assassin, Tanvir Verde.
Hey guys, how's it going? I'm still wondering how Stephen Hawking made it to the island, but we're all good here. Let's go!
I want to go to the island today. Why would you let me go?
Jesus fucking Christ. I'm not. You sound more like that African guy who goes, "Why are you gay?" than you do Stephen Hawking.
Why are you running? Why are you running?
Well, by the way, for anyone who might be wondering, yeah, extremely X-rated, extremely offensive. Probably time to get out now. All five of our fucking listeners. Hi, Scott. How you doing, buddy?
Can we say fuck?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yes, we normally encourage people to fuck during podcasts.
Just making sure.
Busy.
Hell yeah!
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Furthermore, let me introduce you to a man who prefers to keep it behind closed doors, ladies and gentlemen. It is, of course, Sean McKenzie.
Fucking hell. Changes every single time. I have no idea whatever the fuck it is you're going to say. But I'm glad to be here and not behind closed doors.
Ah, I see what you've done there. It's very clever. It's very clever. Sean McKenzie, of course, the shining example of how autism can still make great professional wrestling at All-Star. Congratulations.
And a receding hairline, no doubt.
Yeah.
I heard it from someone. I think it was Eddie Ryan. He said, "Bold people make the best wrestlers." So let's hope for me yet.
I mean, most bold wrestlers are very good. Yeah, especially Goldberg.
Oh yeah, best wrestler.
Awesome. Yeah, that's Tanvir.
And big, yeah.
All right,
big
finally,
show.
ladies and gentlemen, rounding out the Fatal Five, the concoction of misery that is the Wrestle Plug podcast, is, of course, one half of the Morecambe Wrestling podcast.
Indeed.
Yes, that's he also does other stuff. He works for a company. Odyssey, that's the one. He's the MC for Odyssey. He's also the original host of Coliseum. He's a dear friend, and he's actually younger than me, which is, but well, to be fair, if you look at us, yeah, I look like some aging, decaying fucking fossil at this point that's been up
so sexy.
Been up the rectum of Mark Antony, ladies and gentlemen. But speaking of somebody who hasn't been up the rectum of Mark Antony, but certainly would if he had the opportunity, it is, of course, the man who is very much not his name. He is Silent Mark.
Oh, it was right in there. That's what that does.
Interesting. Yeah.
Well, we haven't got any Roger Sears cock jokes, so we need to sort of dock it at least.
Roger Sears unfortunately could not make this podcast due to the fact that his cock unfortunately got wrapped around the Delta Quadrant, so he cannot make it this evening. That is why we have brought in the man with all the length that is Silent Mark. Right, it's time to talk about the wrestling news. Apparently, that's what we're going to do. And of course, there is only one thing that everyone wants to talk about: the plague of WWE releases post WrestleMania. So I have a list here of everyone who has been released by WWE this week: Dakota Kai, Braun Strowman, Shayna Baszler, Caden Carter, Katana Chance. Those are the main roster talents. And then, of course, we have a plethora of NXT talents as well. Cora Jade, Gigi Dolin, Eddie Thorpe, Jakara Jackson, Riley Osborne, Oro Mensah, sounds like some sort of self-help class, Javier Bernal, Joe Coffey, Mark Coffey, and Wolfgang, of course known as Gallus. and Danny Palmer. Generic. Apparently, while not released, Shotzi has been informed by WWE that the company won't be renewing her contract, so she will leave the organization when her deal expires. So Shotzi will be out the door soon. This is currently who is on the list. There may be more in the future because you know what WWE is like. They love a chop. Silent Mark. You're probably the closest we'll get to some sort of reasonable opinion on this podcast before things delve into, I know, terrifying concept. But yeah, feel free to let loose like you don't do on your podcast, because that one is much more professional. And obviously we'll pipe that up later in the podcast. What do you think about all these releases? Is there anything that really stands out to you there? Any shocks for you?
Not really. There's a lot of shames. Like, it's a shame that they've been let go, but none of it really surprises me that much because as I've always found, WWE don't quite know what to do with certain people. They know one storyline for them, and when that story's done, they're just like, what can we do? Braun Strowman being one of them, just huge beef of a man, and you could have so many storylines with him. You could put him in so many places, and they don't. It's there's quite a few it's a shame they've gone, but it's shit.
Yeah, basically putting it mildly. Sean McKenzie, who stands out on this list to you as a bit of a stunner, or who do you think is arguably the biggest mistake that they're releasing at this point? Who do you think still has so much more potential that they should be using more?
I mean, after looking at it, it was more Braun Strowman that stood out to me a lot because he's gone through that mud a lot of where he's been released, he's come back, he's been released, he's come back. And it's like the third time now, or maybe it's the second time, but it's happened again with him. And it's the biggest shock because, right, I get it. When he first appeared on WWE screen as part of the Wyatt family, he was not in great shape. He did not look good at all. He was, you
fat fuck.
Yeah, but less nice way of saying it. He was a fat fuck, but like he put in the.
He's still jacked. He was huge.
Yeah. He was a bodybuilder.
But he then cut all that. But then he cut all that off, and then got absolutely shredded. And he could have had so many good things happen to him. Like his Universal title reign in the bin, gone. They just wasted that away. And there's so many other things could have happened. He could have really been the one to have a really good feud with Gunther. But
yes.
No, they just kind of shoved that away.
It's hard to argue, Steve, when you say bin Universal title reign when you had Roman Reigns be the guy who came in and took the ball. You can't say they binned the Braun's Universal title reign when look at the one that followed it and it was fucking Roman.
Yeah, okay, they could have done something with it though. Surely they could have given him some sort of storyline rather than going.
The pandemic as well. It's worth pointing out. Yeah. It was during the pandemic where it's much harder to elicit a response because you don't have a crowd.
But you could have easily done it earlier.
Yeah,
earlier in the entire time the Universal title was created, you could have put him in there earlier. But instead we had Brock Lesnar having it for 3 years.
Do we not remember how good his rivalry with Roman Reigns was though when he was earlier on? His the ambulance match was fantastic. He actually really helped Roman Reigns survive in a period where people hated, where he wasn't very good and he wasn't delivering good promos.
I really enjoyed the Sami Zayn initial feud for Braun with the Foley as the GM. I remember that quite a bit.
There is one thing I remember about Strowman though, and that was in. I think it was a Rumble where it was him and Brock Lesnar. And Strowman wasn't selling a fucking thing. So Lesnar absolutely beat the shit out of him.
It was actually, I think it was a match. It wasn't in the Rumble. It was at the Royal Rumble itself. Yeah. It was a terrible triple threat. It was him, Lesnar, and Kane. Awful. Bad match.
I don't know what it was. Because I think earlier on, in that Brock hit him. Not Brock. He hit Brock with a proper potato, a proper spud right in the face, and Brock went bash right in the knee. I was like,
Brock Lesnar being Brock Lesnar doing something to somebody's face. Get out of here!
But if we just to go off things, I saw something on Twitter where it was again Mr. Melt himself, Dave Meltzer, was reporting that. the ultimate melt was reporting that apparently they got released because they weren't putting in enough work. And I just thought, well, hang on a minute, that can't be true. They've got the performance center at the hands of it, that can't be right. And I think it was Corey Jade.
I don't trust anything that comes out of his mouth. This is a man who genuinely thinks like John Cena and Cody Rhodes for me was trash, terrible main event. I thought it was awful. But I don't think it was the worst WrestleMania main event of all time.
No.
Dave Meltzer has officially rated it the worst main event of all time.
There's been worse. There has been worse.
There's a man who lives in the I only know what happened 3 months ago kind of field of what maybe he's got a severe fucking Alzheimer's. I don't know. I mean, but it's that thing of I don't really. Also, we need to stop holding Dave Meltzer in such high regard. It's one guy's opinion. Admittedly, he's the first guy to have the serious opinions about wrestling. He was doing dirt sheets back in the 80s before it was prevalent. He was the one who came up with the rating system first, unless you believe some obscure reference from 1950s Japanese wrestling, which I'm sure Tanvir has read up on. But it's that thing of great. He may have been the first. Doesn't mean he's the best to do it. I mean, Jimmy Savile was one of the first people I know to do charity. Didn't really work out that great.
Now then.
Sitting there going, how did that work out? Is he all right?
Sure, would it?
Now then.
Your opinion, because ultimately we actually have a woman on this podcast finally. Well, one that is an official biological woman, not one who's just pretending to be one, Tanvir. But I can't wait for the trans.
Stop it, guys! Oh my god!
Curious about that.
Jesus Christ!
I have got great tits. I think that's where people got confused.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sorry.
I mean, if I shaved the beard,
I can squish them together.
I have seen an old picture of you with no beard. I don't want to ever see it again. Ever.
Tell you what, I think Tanvir needs to grow a beard out, but that's
he does. He does.
Women are talking. Shut the fuck up. All right. So fucking annoying. This list obviously has a lot of fucking women on it, which hasn't been mentioned. Talk to me about that. What stands out to you?
Dakota Kai.
Oh yeah.
It's very shocking to me. I really thought she was gonna be pushed a little bit more now. Since they brought in the mid card women's titles, and she had that amazing match with Live Valkyria
to crown the first champion. Yeah, and it was amazing. It should have been on a Saturday Night Main Event rather than just a Raw episode. I think it was on Raw. Women on the main event.
But yeah, it was totally disappointing to see Dakota Kai that's been released. I think she's a fantastic worker. I think she's got a great character. I think she's such a likable person anyway.
Theo Sky tweeted, didn't she? She was heartbroken about it. Lost her best friend.
I can imagine Bailey's probably feeling quite upset. But yeah, it's just really.
There's a lot of women on here though. There's also they released Kaden Carter and Katana Chance, arguably the only legitimate women's tag team in the entire. Because everyone else is just coddled together. That was a legit tag team that was formed properly as a tag team. Like Cora Jade, you don't like Cora Jade, do you? You've always hated her. Like, not a massive fan is an understatement. If you watch NXT with this woman, she's like, she's fucking shit.
She's not the best worker.
No, I would argue that she's got worse since her injury, which is understandable. Getting injuries in wrestling, I know it makes you very nervous when you get back in the ring. Gigi Dolin sucks for me. That's a big loss.
That's a big loss to me, because she just started to get into this awesome tag team with Tate and Paxley on NXT
and Shotzi as well. There was a trio.
Why'd you have to mention that? Why'd you have to ruin it? Lovely human being, terrible wrestler. I have to say, out of everyone on this list, just to say, because she's been mentioned, I think Shotzi is by far and away the least impactful loss. No offense to her, but somebody's got to go. She's arguably, in my opinion, the worst women's wrestler on the roster.
I feel like Shotzi should have been gone a long time ago, but they just kept putting her in positions but were dangerous for other people as well as herself, and she wasn't good enough for them.
Talk to me about the other women, though, because you've got other women on here. Jakara Jackson, obviously.
Jakara Jackson, also big loss. She was in a cool tag team with Lash Legend. We could always see that Lash was going to be a slightly bigger star than Jakara.
Got the size Jackson, and the power. But they literally just had like a prominent tag team title chance, didn't they?
Gigi Dolan and Tate and Paxley, and they just binned her off. But anyway, so Jakara Jackson's gone, which is really sad, because I was starting to really think she was.
You must be heartbroken about Eddie Thorpe.
Middy Thorpe.
Carl Fredericks from New Japan.
There's a guy who just, for some reason, I don't understand how Eddie Thorpe was ever put in a prominent position. There was, I believe, he has a Native American background. That's his culture, which is fantastic. But representation should come with talent, as far as I'm concerned.
Totally agree.
Like, otherwise, we could just grab a random Native American and throw him on the TV and go, "You've got a decent body. Go and act for us." That's not how that works. You still have to be really, really good at what you do. He didn't really come across as anything more than
charisma.
Mid-card fodder at best.
Yeah, and they tried to throw him in that.
He should have stuck with New Japan when he was as Carl Fredericks. Really should have, because at least when he was the young.
Oh my God, I didn't realize that's Carl Frederick.
Eddie Thorpe. It was the young lion.
Bonkers! I didn't realize that. That's mad. He was good in New Japan. But again, that was the problem. Yeah, you're a great worker. You can wrestle. Everyone can wrestle these days to a certain degree. Even the people that we don't really like, they can still wrestle to a certain, other than John Cena, obviously, he doesn't have to. But it's that thing of the modern day Hulk Hogan. It's ridiculous. But, you know, realistically, what is your X factor? Yeah, AEW's finding this out. That's why their ratings are tanking, because, yeah, they got, like, nobody's arguing that Will Ospreay is a world-class talent. But does he have the captivating mic skills of a Roman Reigns or a Paul Heyman? Of course he fucking doesn't. We already knew that going in. Ricochet? Jesus. Like, fucking hell. And that's the other thing as well, is all these people who are going, "Oh, the fucking WWE, what a pile of shit. How could you release people? What are they supposed to do? Do what AEW does and pay a ridiculous amount of people to sit in catering and not achieve dreams while spunking money up the wall?" So you can't win either way. Is it ideal? No. Should they have some sort of severance pay? We don't know. They might have a severance pay. They may not be allowed to mention it. It also is worth pointing out the main roster talents have a 90-day no compete clause, excuse me, whereas the NXT talents only have a 30-day no compete clause.
I want to mention from that list, it's one of the least impactful is Gallus. But the thing is, they're the three guys who helped Rock get back into ring shape. So you'd expect to these were the guys who helped The Rock get back into ring shape. Oh, they're set with WWE for life now.
You say that, but like, and that's sort of going along the lines of The Rock is at fault for all of these releases.
No, not at all.
The thing is, he's just one of the board members. He doesn't own WWE.
No, it's just because Gallus personally helped train Rock get back in the ring.
Yeah,
Rock
but I mean, FTR personally trained Edge to help him in his comeback, and then got shit out of AEW. Like, I mean, just because you train, like, for instance, you know, Joe Lando and Danny Black, two people I know quite well, they're helping train Joe Weller for his, you know, his wrestling performances. Another YouTuber coming in, I'm sure Silent Mark is thrilled to see. He just loves his YouTube.
Has Joe Weller actually made any appearances yet wrestling?
He has in Uganda.
Oh yeah.
Oh God.
And the soft round wrestling, yeah.
Love that.
Yeah, which does that have a ring yet, by the way?
It doesn't.
I thought it did.
I heard a lot of talk about how all these, you know, Will Ospreay said, "I'm going to buy these guys a ring," and everyone, and now all of a sudden it's like, nope, still wrestling in mud. You know, like, it's all just. By the way, take me for the shout going out there and putting in some real work and actually doing a lot of charity work while he was out there. While a lot of these fucking posers were like, "Oh, I'll use it as a personal opportunity." He's just spent so much time trying to help rebuild housing, donating money, raising money to projects, things of that nature, and still had the time to wrestle.
Yeah.
You know, and put the TNT title on the line and make it a legit world championship by doing so. But no one wet their pants over that. Whereas, Cody is guaranteed he's going to buy them a ring. Oh, no, he's still having a shit match with John Cena.
No.
Is what it is.
Here's a question. Do you think a lot of these releases are because AEW have got a couple of good people on and they're wanting to poach again?
What do you think? Have they released them for AEW to poach specifically?
Yeah.
Possibly.
Interesting.
I think if anything, AEW being able to poach these talents and spend money on them benefits WWE more because it swells their ground force even more. So all of a sudden it's like, for instance, their women's division desperately needs an upgrade. It just does, because you can't just, because apparently Mariah May's out the door and going to WWE. And that was probably the biggest draw other than Toni Storm. Now, Toni Storm's incredible, but how much can you rely on just her and a, let's be honest, woefully inadequate Sasha Banks? You know, as Mercedes Moan.
I've I've also heard that Soraya wants to return to WWE at some point.
She just left AEW as well. That's the thing. What's happening now is the shine is off. So everyone whose contracts are coming up, they're looking at WWE and thinking, holy shit, billions of dollars, Netflix, TKO, guaranteed TV time. Even if you're only on for 5 minutes, you can sell so much more merch. You can do so much more. You can have so much more impact. Why, like, if I'm Mariah May, I'm sitting there thinking, right, my 2 years are up. Of course, I'm going to go to WWE because my stock has now risen in AEW, and now WWE can use me on a main event level platform.
You look at what Joe Hendry did at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And that's a perfect example of what people can do. They'll go in, use personality, and fuck off. Because of that, you can get people like Saraya back on WWE. You can get people like Toni Storm back on WWE, which is where she belonged in the first place. Toni Storm has always been fucking amazing. You can put these people back. You know, Sasha Banks will probably go back to WWE because of the way they are at the moment. I genuinely think that some of these are basically being let go because they're like, yeah, well, we can nab them.
Yeah, we can make room for better talents.
Yeah.
There's only one talent on here that, for me, really should not have been released and is pretty much unreleasable. That is Dakota Kai.
Yeah.
He has everything that you would want from a main event level talent, much less a mid card. And also the groundswell of talent for the mid cards, as you've seen with Zelina Vega now being United States champion, Lyra Valkyria being an amazing worker, but really struggling on the mic, which is a shame. And that's not helped by, you know, being put in a program with a live leprechaun. That's not going to help at all. But it's that thing of you really do need some strong mid-card potential talents, and Dakota Kai fit that bill. She's beautiful, she's talented, she's got an international vibe as well. Like, there was everything that you could, like Shayna Baszler. She had her go, she had her run, and just ended up becoming really disappointing. Because for me in NXT, she was lights out.
Amazing in NXT.
She was good,
incredible. But she's had the opportunities. A lot of these other people have had opportunities. Obviously, the NXT talents, that's a bit different. But also NXT, by the way, that's swollen as well. Fucking heaving with developmental talents, people they want to bring through. Obviously, people we know that are going to be getting signed and things like that. They just had a UK tryout as well. So you've got to think, there's probably guys from that who are going to be coming in as well. What's going to happen? They need to make room because they can't theoretically get everyone. You just can't. It's not plausible to get everybody on. I think it's just a sad state of affairs, but it is also business at the end of the day.
Yeah.
This is a business. It's easy for us to sit here when we're earning a meager salary, unlike these giants of sports entertainment, and say, you pieces of shit, how could you remove... But realistically, Shayna Baszler must have made a lot of money while she was in WWE.
Yeah.
Like, if she's been smart and put money away, she's set for life. And I guarantee AEW will swallow her up just like that and give her $3 fucking million anyway. So, you know, and good for her. She deserves that money. And hopefully she'll be used properly.
Yeah.
I doubt it, because Tony Khan is a great, insufferable man-child.
Yes.
But on the off chance that she gets the run like a Tony Storm does, awesome. All the more power to her. There's nothing wrong with going to AEW and making a lot of money. It just doesn't mean I'm going to sit there and watch it just because you're making a lot of money. That's the problem right there. Any final thoughts on the WWE releases, Gang?
I'd release on a few of WWE.
Who is specific? Are you still the Rhea Ripley?
Fuck yeah, I'm still Rhea Ripley.
This one is.
She could kill the living fuck out of me.
Yeah.
And I would be a happy man.
Mate, the
Chloe, what a hell of a way to die.
Oh, fuck yes.
Death by Snoo.
If I'm going to die, let it be between the thighs of that lady. Jesus fuck.
There's somewhere Buddy Matthew was just like nodding, like, well said, gentlemen.
Did you hear the story? So on, because Van Vliet did an interview.
Oh, do you suck his dick, by the way?
No.
It's like your favorite, like literally, you are like.
I just listened to his podcast.
Van Vliet, aren't you?
Shut up, Tanvi.
Oh, CBV.
I just listened to his podcast, and they're good stories. And he recently had Buddy Matthews on, and Buddy Matthews said he had Rhea Ripley in a triangle choke. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Surely that'd be the other way around.
Thank you for that useful information, Tanvi. Next, what's the next topic of the podcast?
Surely Rhea Ripley would be the one to choke me. Wait, what?
Wait, what?
Who said that? Bastards.
For all your pegging needs, son
the walls are talking.
It's worth pointing out there were some statements that were released by some of the talents. Oh, by the way, did anyone see Sasha Banks and her rather interesting So Sasha Banks has this new thing, obviously Mercedes Moné. You might have noticed when Bayley was left off of the WrestleMania card, she put this little clever, what she thought was a clever tweet up going, "Plenty of room over here." Cough, cough, money, money. I was just like, yes, we're all aware of how much money you are bleeding out of the Khan dynasty while presenting us with a mediocre title run, dear. Nearly 3 years out from her own WWE exit, Mercedes Moné is raising her proverbial glass to some of her fellow departees, 3 of whom were caught in the latest wave of company releases. On X, Moan, the current AEW TBS champion, posted a throwback image of her 2021 WWE Survivor Series team. The latter received her release from WWE on Friday. That was Shayna Baszler, while the ballsy badass will reportedly be leaving the promotion upon her imminent contract expiration. I believe that's a reference to Shotzi. Yeah. On the far right end is former WWE SmackDown star Toni Storm, who abruptly exited WWE in December of 2021. In 2025, Storm is in her 4th reign as the AEW Women's World Champion.
And there is no better person on the mic at this point.
Yeah.
She is
amazing.
Just literally carrying that company, in my opinion.
Really is.
Like, there is no one close. Like, Will Ospreay is having the best matches. Good for him. Love Will. Always got time for Will. Do well, mate. But, you know, Toni Storm is the draw. That's why I would watch it. That's the only reason I watch. Is to watch what she's doing because she's so...
I mean,
I'll be scrolling through TikTok or Instagram and I'll see an AEW reel. It'll just be Toni Storm. Yeah. But then I'll keep scrolling and I won't see anything else AEW related unless it's a Toni Storm promo.
Yeah.
And that just tells you all you need to know because everyone at the moment is talking about Toni Storm.
Yeah. Who would be your dream match if Toni went back to WWE?
Ooh,
because I mean, for masturbatory purposes, obviously it'd be really.
That
would basically just be hard on for half an hour.
No, masturbatory purposes it'd be Tiffany Stratton. No. I don't know.
I love your reaction.
Run back, Stardom.
Like if Tiffany Stratton walked into his room right now, and be like, yeah.
Do you know what?
No, that would be the noise he makes. Yeah.
I kind of think Toni Storm
paints his wall.
I kind of think Toni Storm and maybe Chelsea Green would put on a good match.
That'd be fun.
I think from an entertainment standpoint, the promos would be fire. I don't think the match itself would be alright. They're obviously better.
It wouldn't be. No, it would not be a riot 5-star match.
Why are we talking about entertainment? This is WWE, where entertainment is far more important than you have the best matches.
If we're talking entertainment, I'd want it to be Bayley. I'd want Bayley to.
I was thinking Bayley as well.
Yeah, Bayley, yeah.
If we're talking entertainment, that'd be arguably the most entertaining option.
I really want Bayley to smother me.
That would be. Yeah, same.
I'm with you, brother. I'm with you, brother.
Like a British nanny.
My thing is, I've had a crush on Bayley since before it was cool, so I'm quite happy with it.
I had a crush on Bayley since when she was the hugger. It was like, hug me, hug me, hug me.
So
and now I'm still like, hug me with that ass.
No longer hug me; it's something else.
We can say what Mark. We can say what it is.
For next masturbatory reasons, Liv Morgan.
Oh my fucking god!
Liv Morgan, Toni Storm.
Christ Almighty! That is Bundesliga, Champions League 1 and 2. That's like Dortmund and Bayern Munich. Fucking photo finish, mate. Forget about it.
I'll say something controversial.
And Paxley's just scratching the disc in the corner. I'm like, oh, forget about it. I'm done.
Can I say something controversial?
Thinking about that has just made me have a seizure.
Go on, be edgy. He needs to be edgy.
Liz Morgan is dull as fuck.
You're fucking wrong on so many levels.
She's dull as fuck. She's pretty much just a picture.
You mean as a legit talent in terms of her promos and stuff like
that? Everything.
Everything
about her is dull as fuck.
So still on the fence. Get in there.
I think she's gotten better as a worker, but I do think she's not, that exciting.
Sells more merchandise than any other woman in the company, including Rhea Ripley.
Do you know what I'll say? Her
as they should. What? And people
she's wife material.
She's not wife material.
No,
Do you know what I will say?
She's
Right.
Megan Fox of wrestling.
Right, Tanvir, calm your boat.
She's the Megan Fox of wrestling because all she is, she's a pretty vase with fuck all in it.
Calm your boner, Tanvir. Calm your Tanvir.
I want chicken tenders and a PS5.
Calm your boner, Tanvir. Right. The thing with Liv Morgan is her skills as being able to react or like act on point to things. Like I'm just thinking back to when it was Dom Mysterio had to say like he hated her and he was like saying all this stuff to her in Spanish and she had to like basically cry on command. That's impressive. Not a lot of people can just cry on command.
That angle in the company,
yeah, but so can most teenage girls, for fuck's sake, mate.
Yeah, like, but what I'm saying,
over as she is because of Liv Morgan.
Yeah,
yeah.
Like that's what people forget is that. Don't get me wrong, already over, very much so. But you cannot tell me that Rhea Ripley is not stratospherically even further over because of that Liv Morgan rivalry and the Dominic Mysterio work
and her crush on Jey Uso.
Don't know about that.
That's the hottest rivalry.
Don't agree with that.
What, her crush on Jey Uso?
It gets boring. Even the bloodline got boring. Like that's the problem with WWE.
I think they carried on that
storytelling 5 years.
That rivalry went on too long.
But that's
that didn't build her up. It just
isn't it funny how people celebrate Trish Stratus so much for becoming a better wrestler, even though she was just a pretty piece of eye candy, very much like Liv Morgan. But Liv Morgan doesn't get that respect in general. Have you noticed that? Is that because her character is very slutty, do you think? And people buy into that too much? Because her character...
No, I agree with you on that one.
With due respect.
I agree with you on that one, because...
Go on.
You go first, but... So, like, I'm just thinking back, like, years ago when the Bellas were, like, on their main stage, they were considered, like, the hottest attractions of the roster at that time. And that's all they would do. Like, you know, they would go out, like Nikki Bella would like spin around and flaunt her ass. One of them would do that to insinuate that they're gonna flash their tits, but they're not actually.
Nikki.
Obviously they were called like, I think AJ Lee called them like the Kardashians of the WWE or something like that. And now I'm thinking it's like, all right, cool. Now fast forward to now, we've got Liv Morgan, who's essentially the Sabrina Carpenter of the WWE, slutting herself about, but at the same time is slutting herself about and, you know, making characters like Rhea Ripley go like that.
Yeah, be very careful.
No, she's not like that in real life. She's not like that in real life. I mean, her character.
She's gonna be in a Takeshi Miike film, so I'm fucking hyped for that.
Fucking hell! Here we go with the Japanese nerdism.
Right, Tanvir, shut up. Tanvir, shut up. But like, what?
But like, Takeshi.
Yeah, Takeshi Miike, Ichi the Killer.
But what I mean is that the way her character. What I mean is the way her character is presented to be this sort of like, you know, sort of like Dominic Mysterious slut kind of thing. And she's managed to do that and improve her wrestling skill at the same time, which is what the Bellas never ever really did. So she's transpired from what the Bellas able to do, and she's making other wrestlers better because of her character. She's able to do this with other people, whereas the Bellas able to do that.
I think the reason why I find
offended by talent. Sorry, like I think it's really funny in this day and age that we're all like everyone's kind of semi-offended by the idea of women flaunting their sexuality more. Like that seems to be the like, for instance, the Zoe Stark coming out with comments about how
that was it.
You know, who can showcase their ass the most, and Liv Morgan tweeted back and said, "Yeah, and I still make more money than you." Like,
I'd see it that I agree with. My problem with Liv Morgan is she may be getting better, but she sells other people better than she sells herself.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I would agree with that.
I think that's where I find the problem with it. That she's very pretty. She's fucking stunning.
She can't dominate you. That's what the problem is, isn't it?
Also, yes. But no, it's... I think because she hasn't been given that this is my character, this is who I am, and this is what I'm going to push forward. I'm pushing me forward. She's not doing that. She's pushing everyone else.
Yeah. I think she still needs to find herself.
Yeah.
As
soon as she finds herself, she's going to be fucking up there.
Where would you rank, like, as a women's wrestler who trains as a women's wrestler, who obviously, I'm not going to sit here and be all fucking virtue signal like crazy, but I imagine there's a lot of difficulties in being a women's wrestler than there is a men's.
Absolutely.
So when you watch Liv Morgan wrestle and you watch her career so far, where does she rank for you in that company?
Well, like out of 10 or something? Or
No, just like in general, like where do you personally rank Liv Morgan? Do you consider her the upper echelon? For instance, do you think she's a top 5 women's wrestler in WWE? Bearing in mind, all encompassing, not just in ring work. No, not all time. Right now in the company.
Right now, okay. Right now, no.
No.
Close.
Whereabouts?
Close.
So who's ahead of her in your opinion?
Bailey.
Acceptable.
Rhea Ripley.
Acceptable.
I don't know. Don't put me on the spot.
Got to be able to back it up.
IO Sky had rate higher than her.
Yeah.
IO Sky?
Io Sky.
IO Sky, sorry. I'm
IO Sky as an in-ring worker, as a character, absolutely.
Charlotte Flair.
Charlotte Flair, not right now. You don't want to bring it out right now. That's coming from me. I love Charlotte Flair. Even I'm like, I wouldn't touch that right now. No, thank you.
Weirdly,
Asuka,
again, not there. Haven't seen her in fucking doggy's dick.
Because she's been injured.
Yeah, but at the same time, out of sight, out of mind.
Bianca Belair.
I think
Fantastic worker.
Bianca Belair, yeah, pretty decent. But again, the thing is, one thing I really appreciate about Liv Morgan is that she stayed relevant throughout her entire run. She's always got heat. She's always interesting. People still tune into her segments. Have you noticed how people are tuning out Bianca Belair? They're like, fuck you, we got to boo somebody. You piss us off the most. So in that triple threat, she got the heat. And it's the case of women's wrestling. Unless you're Toni Storm, I've noticed most women go for a run where people don't get. Rhea Ripley and Toni Storm are the only ones who are able to just transcend that entirely. And I think Liv Morgan's right there with them. I mean, she's the only other one who has been consistently interesting.
Do you know what? Maybe it's an Australian thing.
Maybe it's a what?
Australian thing. Because Toni Storm and Rhea Ripley are both Australian. Maybe it's an Australian thing.
Maybe. I mean, Australia is certainly making a very good case for how talented it is. Until you look at the men. And then you're like, who the fuck? You like Grayson Waller, don't you?
Bronson Reed.
I think he's quite hot.
Yeah, he's but like everyone's hot. Like,
Jonah Rock.
Really? Like, no, LA Knight's your number one.
Yeah, LA Knight's my daddy.
For the interest of clarity, as gentlemen, shall we present who we think are the best looking males in the company?
Oh, that's
fuck
easy.
yes.
That's easy for me.
Right, let me get my list. Hold on.
Yeah.
Right, Tanvir is easy. So, all right.
Yeah.
Tanvir's easy.
But best looking man for me is Drew McIntyre.
Oh.
Best looking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd go with that.
I want him to cradle me.
Up there. Definitely
He
up
is
there.
daddy.
I fucking love Drew.
He gets in the daddy bank.
He gets in the daddy bank.
Yeah,
Damien Priest.
Yeah,
I was going to say Damien Priest.
Oh.
I was going to say Damien Priest.
Yeah.
But you say boring, but we're more going on looks.
Yeah, but
I thought the personality looks.
I think looks wise he's okay. But
That's why I like Liv Morgan. Personality, mate.
Personalities.
That is cringe.
That was terrible. That was terrible. I thought I was going somewhere.
I
thought I was going somewhere.
You wrestle for that company endorsing.
Steve-O, fuck off.
I thought I was going somewhere.
You deserve shit bookings like you had this weekend. That you deserve it.
I thought I was going somewhere. I was going nowhere.
You deserve to spawn into Risen again. Hello.
So Drew McIntyre is number 1 for Tanvir. Sean McKenzie, who is the best looking man in WWE? Who's the one you want to fuck most?
Jesus. Fuck, I don't actually know, to be fair, because a lot of them are fairly good looking as it is. It's hard just like go, oh yeah, that one.
One's got a 10.
Do you know what? I'd probably say Seth Rollins.
Really?
Interesting
Mhm.
choice.
I mean, Seth is
Yeah.
attractive.
Do you know what? I wouldn't disagree.
Yeah.
He's certainly up now, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's getting better, and also he's married to someone who's far better, less looking than he is. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
He dropped his standards.
I still fucking love Becky Lynch.
I think she's trash.
I absolutely
Well-
fucking adore the woman.
I think, by the way, Liv Morgan infinitely better than Becky.
Oh
Lynch.
yeah, I agree that one. Yeah, I agree.
Not even close.
Yeah, totally agree.
All right, Simon Martin, who you fucking?
Most of them.
Just start a train. He's there. He's like, come on.
Honestly,
I was going to say something else then. I'm not going to because that's bad.
Right. So, Mark, this is 18 plus unhinged. Say whatever the fuck you want podcast. Just fucking say it.
But I still want a job.
See, there's the difference. None of us have any jobs that we
No.
respect.
Yeah, that's a good point. Do you know what? Actually, Mark, there's a little chat bit in this little video call. Put it in there, and then we can all just react to it.
I'll tell you later.
Yeah.
Oh, come on! Don't give me good man.
Kofi Kingston for me,
Kofi Kingston.
because I think he's fit.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
If we're going that route, I'd prefer Woods. I'd say Woods is a bit more.
I bet you would.
beefier.
I've heard you prefer Woods.
I mean, we've seen to say something else. We've seen how he fucks. We have seen
We
how
have.
Xavier Woods
Yeah,
fucks.
to be fair, you know what? He does know how to look after it properly.
What
He
the?
sits with touch.
He gives it
That's not
flowers.
He gives it flowers.
He gives it
and-
cups of tea occasionally.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah, we know how he works.
Down,
We
perfect.
know
If it's sick, he'll give him chicken soup.
exactly. Do you know what I mean? We
Well,
know how he.
Oh, you're spitting it out again. You're spitting it out.
He'll train you at Tekken. He's good for gaming.
Oh, fuck off, Tanvir. Like, Tanvir's the only guy who we're talking about fucking guys, and he's like, well, he teach me how to play Tekken. Does he understand
know.
the lore of Dead or Alive?
That's the post-sex activity.
He just loves his knobs being checked.
I love that. Love that.
Fucking
Silent Mark just got a message. He is fired.
fair enough. It's absolutely fair.
I've done
Right.
worse in the ring.
So what's the joke then? You want to fucking say?
We'll leave that one there. Yeah, but that was the WWE releases. Let us know what you think. If you are unfortunately listening or watching this podcast, let us know what you think. Who's the biggest loss? And who? By the way, very controversial question: who should be released and hasn't been?
Oh,
Ooh.
okay.
I'm
Yes,
just
where's
gonna
one
go
for you
into
think?
the.
Hulk Hogan.
Nia Jax.
I'm just
What,
going
even
into
for
the
the Legends
WWE roster
contract?
page.
Yeet.
Yeah. Let's.
Nia Jax. Nia Jax. Nia Jax. I have heard there's been so many things, like it's in the past now, I know, but there was so many things in the past where she would injure someone in the ring because she was either too heavy on a landing or she was too stiff. She would serve too many potatoes on the plate. And for someone to do that in the WWE ring, it's just not right. On the indie scene, okay, you know what? There's a few stiff people about.
That's
Yeah.
gonna be a lot of fun.
That's going to be a lovely one, isn't
You're
it?
being scrutinised in NXT, son.
But like, I don't ever think like you should ever really injure someone that you're in the ring with.
I don't
like-
think she's going out there and thinking, I'm going to fuck this person up. Just a bit of a clumsy oath.
Yeah, she's just.
But
clumsy.
Like,
Clumsy oath too many
that's a
times.
good thing. But we're not
Clum-
like you're acting as if she's gone out there and trying to assassinate them. Like, I don't know.
But
I've seen
also
by the way, a lot of professional wrestlers, very famous ones, used to go into business for themselves. Like Triple H, Stone Cold, HBK, they've all got fucking these, these albatrosses around their neck where they've got. Perry Saturn is one of the most famous ones. That's how he ended up with a moppy angle because he beat the living shit out of a trainee on a Velocity show. Like, beat the fuck out of people. Like that, it happens much more than you realise, and I'm pretty sure I've seen Volta stiff out many a talent over here before he went to WWE as well. So,
we know one in particular.
But
Yeah, that I was going to mention Bodum.
but yeah, compared to all the other women in the roster as well, she's just not as up there as the rest of them. She can't hold it for that much longer. So
Who are you axing from the women's division?
Oh, from the women's.
Yeah,
I
come
thought of a
on.
man.
You're very invested in women's wrestling,
Uh,
rightfully so. Who's getting axed?
Something.
You hated Cora Jade, so you're probably quite happy that she's been well, not happy, but you feel like that might be more justified.
Okay. Maxine Dupree.
Oh.
Ooh.
You were the one who was saying to me the other day.
She has improved, but she's got no character. She's got no
What are you
charisma.
talking about? She's blonde and pretty.
you know what? I can see it because Gunther or Walter, whatever. He was on that first few episodes of LFG, and he was saying to that young trainee that was like, "Oh yeah, I just want to try and make it and see how far I can go." It's fake as shit, but he was like, "No," he did say something that does stick out. Nobody cares. Nobody wants to see Barbie. Maxine Dupree
Really?
is essentially a Barbie.
50 Stratton literally just made a bank at WrestleMania.
But Maxine Dupree is the epitome of someone that is essentially just a Barbie. She's blonde, she's skinny, she's pretty.
Well, her
That's
biggest
what she
problem is
is.
she can't wrestle at all.
No.
So, but then the WWE were like, we need to maximize our money from her, so let's get her to wrestle. And then when she was terrible, it was like, shock horror, stick thin, pretty blonde girl, can't wrestle that well. What do you expect?
Exactly.
She's in a very forgettable.
But mate, she's the daughter of Ric Flair, for fuck's sake.
No, wait a minute.
We're not talking about her. Sorry, my bad.
I said stick thin, goddammit. Dear oh dear.
Where's Sean gone?
Yeah. At this point, Shawn Michaels looks more like Charlotte Flair than Charlotte Flair. Sorry. It's just this country, isn't it? That's really sad as well because I love Charlotte Flair.
Yeah.
I loved her run. I think she was incredible, but man, we have not got anything good since she came back.
No.
We just, admittedly, small sample size, one match. But well, actually, no, she wrestled a B-Fab. B-Fab. What?
Yeah.
Get rid of that. How about that?
Oh,
B-Fab. State of it. Who else?
Zoe Stark.
Zoe Stark. Do you know what? I like her as a worker, but again, if you're going to spend your whole time bitching on Twitter or X or whatever it is, get out.
I've
But she's Ric Flair's.
got one. Ridge Holland.
I
I
quite.
like Rich.
Yeah, but he's the Big E, so everyone's like, you're scum.
Not that it just hasn't really improved much. He was amazing in the War Games they did. He was the MVP of that War Games, but since then just
Lexus King.
Good shout.
Dog shit. Brian Pillman Jr. Good, seriously, so bad. It's a shame because
quite bad,
good
isn't
God,
he?
was Brian Pillman special when I was a kid. His son is fucking
Yeah.
dull.
I'm gonna be a bit controversial with one.
Tamir's going to be controversial. Are you going to
I don't think he's dog shit, but I think there's other guys who are doing the role now because they brought him in. Dragon Lee. Because you've got Fenix and Penta. I love Dragon Lee. Love him, but you've got other guys who are filling that role.
No, you don't. You say you love Dragon Lee. Like,
the Dragon Lee Hiromu was some of my favorite matches in New Japan.
To back it up. Ain't nobody going on YouTube and typing in Dragon Lee best of. Get fun.
No. See, he's got a point though. Like you've got Penta, you've got Rey Fenix, you've got El Grande Americano. Also Dragon. Like, yes. Like yeah.
Well, El Grande Americano in the same room.
Strange.
Actually, here's a question.
I listened to the Morecambe Wrestling podcast, and I do believe your co-host, who I don't even remember his name, if I'm being honest. Sorry. He seems like a lovely gentleman, but I don't remember his name. I'm pretty sure he said that he thought that match was terrible.
He did.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wow.
What?
I don't care about his opinions. I'm sure he's lovely. He's welcome on this podcast.
He's allowed to be wrong.
Yeah, well, yeah, of course he is. He's from Morecambe.
Some of my favourite things have happened with Greg. I have embarrassed that man.
Yeah. He's from Morecambe, but he's not wise.
I have embarrassed that man more than he would like to remember.
Yeah, the photos of you two are adorable, though.
It's, yeah. I once stood on a stage at a festival and told everyone that he knows every single word to the song 1 Week by Bare Naked Ladies. And then we played 1 Week by Bare Naked Ladies and he fucking ran.
Poor bastard.
That is gold.
My last bit of ring announcing for him was a man whose finishing move is simply the word
What?
His finishing move is simply titled
What is it? Like what?
He doesn't have a finishing move. It's just it's just literally a disappointed moan.
Oh right, okay. Fucking hell, that's terrible.
Good stuff.
Who, by the way, who?
The guy I do the podcast with.
No, who's got the moan, the disappointing finisher move? Who is that?
That's him.
That's him.
Oh right.
I always announce him weirdly. Like I once said his finishing move was called the disappointment.
Oh, I see.
And yeah, just I'd take the piss out of him, basically.
Yeah.
He loves it.
I love that I brought the podcast to a stop.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's quite nice. It is quite nice. Can I have my tuppence in?
Yeah, cool.
Logan Paul.
Oh, fuck off.
Yes.
He can fuck off. The thing is, he can fuck off for several reasons.
Okay, I'm listening. Go on.
Right?
Go on.
Firstly,
Hold on.
the
Please continue.
firstly, the obvious of him being a fucking terrible human being and literally just.
Oh yeah, you would never
awful.
get any other wrestlers that are terrible. Yeah.
But one thing I find with wrestlers is an amazing wrestler will be a good heel and a good face. I don't think at this point in his career, or this point in general, I don't think he can ever be a good face again.
Well, he's not had an opportunity to be a face yet.
But no, I don't think people
Well, even if
believe
he was turned face, people would still boo him anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it would be, Cena back in the day. Yeah, it'd be Cena back in the day of him turning up and people just booing him, going, "But no, I am nice." No, you're not. You're a con.
Him over B-Fab.
Sorry?
That seems like that's not really that enough to release someone. I don't think you'd make as good a face as you do a heel. Get out.
But no, the thing is, he's not. Where can he go with it? All he can do is be a dick with people. If you can make someone like Bray Wyatt be both a heel and a face, if you can make fucking look at Randy Orton at the end of the last, his last thing at Mania, you've got someone who is a dick like Randy Orton, but still a good face. Logan Paul can't be that. You can't take him anywhere. It's basically just him being a twat.
Like I was gonna say,
you can't take him to Japan, for example.
Why not?
Why not?
Yeah, I mean,
you couldn't have him in the same room as The Rock.
The only argument I need to make is that Logan Paul is easily the most over heel in the company. He gets more heat than anyone else.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's because he is a twat. It's not that he's a character. He just is a twat.
Yeah,
but then you could literally
people still tune in to see him get sparked.
But you could say the same about MJF in AEW, who is the epitome of every time he opens his mouth, he is a twat. He does not hold back. And he lives the gimmick outside of the ring. He'll walk on the street and he'll be MJF. He won't be his real life. He'll just be MJF on a podcast, on the TV, on the street with no camera. You see him, he's MJF. So you could say the same about MJF. Why? How do you know that Logan Paul, this character you're seeing on WWE, this character you're seeing on TikTok and YouTube, how do you know that's not just something that he's doing for fame and money, but behind that, he's actually a bit more sincere. He's actually a bit more of a nice guy. How do you know?
His actual actions in real life.
What, the Bitcoin thing?
Yeah, the Bitcoin thing, the Japan thing. The fact that he's now trying to sue someone that investigated him for explaining what he did.
Sounds very Vince McMahon-esque.
Yeah.
And he built $1 billion empire.
That you're drinking right now.
Exactly.
Yeah, I sort of see what you mean.
I did also say on the podcast that there was the bit where in the Reigns match at Mania, they threw them onto the Prime table, and I said that was only the second most dangerous thing you could do with Prime. The first most dangerous thing being drink it.
I really like the high horse that like people who hate Prime get on when they're like, "Oh, how could you drink something like that?" as they swig a Red Bull. It's that thing like, do you eat processed food? Do you drive a car? Yeah.
Oh, mate, I don't give a shit about that. I mean, there's reasons I don't buy Mercedes Benzes. It's a.
I just find there's no denying Logan Paul's a piece of shit. I think that's why I like him. Because he's a man. So, I'm never going to sit down with Logan Paul and be like, let's have a cup of tea, bro. I look at Drew McIntyre and think, I bet he's a laugh in the bar. But I could go up to Drew and get a pint and he'd be great. I'm not going to do that with Logan Paul because I know he's a dickhead. But that's the thing. I've noticed this ever since I was young. I don't really give a I can always separate the art from the artist. A lot of people can't, and that's fine. And nobody's saying they have to. But for instance, a lot of people in retrospect hate Michael Jackson because of allegations, right? I still love his music. Yeah. I can still listen to it. That's fucking sick.
Oh, dude, I've done fucking a series of a podcast about separating the art from the artist. I'm very much in that thing. Problem is with Logan Paul, you can't separate the art from the artist because they are the same thing.
Yeah,
I think I like that in a weird way. It's very macabre. but I really like that because it is so different to anything else I'm used to watching in WWE. But I will say his match with AJ Styles was a massive letdown, a massive disappointment.
I think the issue.
Boring.
I think the issue with Logan Paul now is, and you said it with the AJ Paul, the novelty's kind of worn off on it. Or like before, it felt like a novelty of like, oh, it's Logan Paul, it's cool.
What, because he's regularly on Raw, you think people like... The funny thing is, you can't win with that, though, can you? Because when he wasn't, people were like, yeah, you can just turn up because you're a celebrity. Now he's on it every week. People are like, he's boring.
It's not the promos, but it's the in-ring of, like, we've seen you go in the ring and, like, okay, but...
And have much better matches than most of the roster.
Yeah, I mean, I can sort of see where Tanvir's coming from, because initially it was supposed to be like a one-off or two-off kind of thing with Logan Paul, where he would step into the ring, and then all of a sudden it became a regular occurrence. Like, it naturally just became a regular occurrence. And now where the novelty is worn off, where you've seen him do like you've seen what he can do, and it's like, well, that's great. You know, it's fantastic. We know he can work along with guys like Roman Reigns. We know he can do all this flippy shit. He can do cool spots with Ricochet in the Rumble and what have you. That's absolutely fantastic. But now we don't really need to see that week in, week out, because he is only supposed to be a celebrity guest wrestler, and now he's trying to make it more, but it doesn't need to be more. No one really wants it more.
I think the thing as well that kind of killed it off a bit was his United States title reign, because it wasn't like, imagine if they done that, it was right after Gunther's Intercontinental reign, would have killed the belt.
No, absolutely.
There's United,
The other thing as well is that, like, I can see why Marcus put Logan Paul on there, because fantastic in-ring worker, fantastic on the mic, but like, he's getting these moments at WrestleMania because he's viral. And the Karen Cross, I'm talking about the Karen Cross shoot promo at the minute, and he has got every right to be fucking pissed off, as well as a lot of people have to be, because people have missed birthdays, funerals, weddings, and shit like that. They've sacrificed so much for being a wrestler, and all Logan Paul has done is make Prime, do a couple of boxing matches, and been viral, and gotten these moments to wrestle the likes of AJ Styles.
He's grafting his online platform. Only, like, whether you like it or not, it must have taken an astonishing amount of time and money to make Prime arguably the most recognizable brand in the world.
Oh no, absolutely.
I mean, he fakes being colorblind as well. That's
but you can't exactly say, oh yeah, he deserves a WrestleMania match against AJ Styles, one of AJ Styles' possibly last WrestleMania matches. He deserves to be with AJ Styles in the ring because he made one of the best and biggest.
That argument, no, surely Nia Jax being on the card.
He's bought into it. He's not got there on anything other than he is bought into it. He's paid to play.
Is KSI the only one who's done any work, do you think, to build that brand?
No. I don't mean within Prime. I said he is paid to become a wrestler.
So
He's paid I see what you mean, because to do it.
I see what you mean, because where Prime and WWE have had this sort of like working relationship and what have you, that sorry, my door is very windy. Where they've had this working relationship, because he's one of the like heads of Prime, he's just been able to sort of like integrate himself into it because of their sponsorship deal.
Yeah,
that's what you mean.
Been there before Prime was a sponsor for them, so
not as much though.
But also, isn't that good business? Again, it's a business. It's about making money. Like, think how much money Prime is probably paying to WWE. Like, anyone's going to do that. Like, if someone comes over to me and says, you know, somebody owns like a really successful candy bar, and they contact WrestlePlug and go, we'll give you X amount of money to plug this candy bar in your pod. Of course I'm going to fucking take it.
The thing is as well, as much as I can turn around and say, like, okay, I agree with Karen Cross's promo. He has every right to be mad. He's also right.
Great promo, but it's basically, it's just a pipe bomb, is what it is.
Yeah, but he's also correct. Nowadays, a lot of getting over is about being viral. It is about having a viral moment on social media.
What he did, as soon as he did that, he became viral.
Yeah, so Karen Cross is right, and the reason AJ Styles.
Why did he have to wait that long to again, like, don't get me wrong, love Karrion Kross. Got a lot of time for him as a worker and a human being. But it's that thing of like, yeah, you dumping your shit at Logan Paul's door, whether that be, just storyline or not. To me, I'm like, that sounds like a you problem. It's not Logan Paul's problem. You're not over, because there are hundreds of wrestlers who are over in the world, and you can't just say, look, he's not over because of Logan Paul.
Mm-hmm.
Not true, is it? Because otherwise, no one else would be over either. He'd be restricting everybody. Guys, there are plenty of guys in that company like Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn who had absolutely nothing coming in and are now megastars. And Logan Paul never at one point stopped them being great stars.
Yeah.
I think a lot of problems with wrestlers, and it's something that will upset local wrestlers that I know all the way up to the top. They're extremely fragile and they're extremely entitled. I have met so many people in this business who are so fucking entitled, who think they are entitled to be wherever they want. It goes from the simplest thing of doing an indie show where someone's like, I'm not going over in my tag match in front of 30 people. And it goes all the way up to, I get paid $10 million a year. And yet Logan Paul got a spot. The entitlement, it's there. I think a lot of the issues in wrestling are because people aren't willing to take accountability for what they're not doing. They're more than happy to try and hold somebody else accountable for their mistakes, or because they're not putting enough effort in. Ultimately, is Karrion Kross as entertaining as name any guy, like Seth Rollins, for instance, on fire at the moment? Is Karrion Kross on that level? Absolutely not. Is he Roman Reigns? No, he's not. Is he as good on the stick as Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Logan Paul? No, none of them. He's decent, and when he fired up, I was like, yes, please. Why did it take this long for you to cut such a fiery and emotional and real promo for me? You've had plenty of time to do that. It's that thing of, and I'd be more than happy to engage someone like that in discourse, because he strikes me as someone who's very intelligent. And his work, and by the way, we were raging about Karrion Kross when nobody knew who he was.
Yeah.
Like, we were fucking raging about him in TNA when he was doing the weird waterboarding shit and that. Me and Steve were on this podcast raging about, why doesn't this guy get an opportunity? He's putting in the work there. So he's got to WWE, he did the NXT run, and then he just kind of
fizzled out. Yes, it's not all his fault. Like, there's always going to be a certain requirement. The company is always going to hamstring you a little bit. Do you know what? I think a lot of the modern talents who've struggled in the last few years probably should be pointing their finger at Vince McMahon. No one else. Yeah. Vince McMahon's the one who fucked so many people over with his ridiculous, retarded ideas for fucking creators.
The Shayna Baszler bite angle on Becky, the Karrion Kross mask and immediately losing to Jeff Hardy.
Why is Karrion Kross thought of as a joke? Because fucking Vince McMahon put him in a mask and made him look like a gay gladiator.
Yeah.
Not because Logan Paul came in and with a shit. By the way, if someone like Logan Paul comes into my company, whether they're a good person or not, and clearly he's not. If he comes into my company and says, I have mucho dinero and I have millions upon millions of people backing me on social media, I have one of the biggest brands, I'm like, yeah, let's have a little conversation about business, because this isn't a what? Wrestling is not about, friends. It's a business. Yeah, like, on the lower levels and the indie scales where we work and stuff, friendship still counts for something, I'd like to think, to a certain degree. Although, even on this level, Christ. But, in WWE, this is a fucking business. This is a $7 billion or $9 billion company, or whatever it was invested in by TKO. Like, fucking morals, ethics. You don't have to like it, but nobody cares about those. Nobody cares about those.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's a sad state of affairs, but nobody cares. People care about making money.
Yeah. True. Fortunately, lads, I have to shoot off. But
that is fucking disgraceful. I didn't even get a chance to wrap up the podcast, and Sean McKenzie.
I know.
Let him fucking wrap it up first, you cunt.
Yeah.
I'll let him wrap it up. I'll let him wrap it up. Go on then. I'll let him wrap it up.
Wow.
Yeah, you piece of shit. Yeah. Right, we like to wrap things up with any other business. Is there anything anyone would like to talk about that's non-wrestling related?
I watched the film Death of a Unicorn and I fucking loved it.
I liked it. I liked it for what it was.
Yeah.
I found it decent. Yeah.
It's a film that it doesn't deserve to be as good as it is.
I love Will Poulter. I really like Will Poulter.
Same.
Yeah. Thunderbolts has no right as being as good as it is. Thunderbolts is incredible.
Yeah, not seen that yet. That is on my list.
Has anybody, Mark, have you seen Sinners yet?
No.
That looks incredible.
See Sinners. Sinners it's a film that requires multiple watches because it's that fucking deep. Of like, initially I watched it, I was like, I like this, and then gave it a few hours. I'm like, oh, I think I need to see this again. It's that fucking good.
Fair enough. Anyone got any grievances? You want to air out any grievances while you got the opportunity? Sean McKenzie.
Tanvir keeps on showing me his bum.
Does he really?
Yeah.
What is your
Oh,
problem?
yeah, I thought you like Asian booty.
You're the wrong one, though, mate.
Oh, okay.
The wrong one.
Oh.
That's been uttered to people of Indian descent.
What type of Asian do you like?
No, just person.
Oh, okay.
It's not the Asian. It's just the wrong
Are
person.
you a fan of the Asian persuasion?
Oh, always.
Yeah.
That's it. Just
There you go, Asia. Steve Move says, So desperate for a wrap up, he's willing to throw an entire continent under the bus. So we'll leave it there, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for watching arguably the worst podcast in the existence of mankind, never mind professional wrestling, which, by the way, is probably the worst business in the existence of mankind. So I stand by my original statement. I've been Aeron Nix. She's been Athena Ray. Been suspiciously quiet this evening. Everything all right?
Yeah, just some crap at podcasts. I don't really know what to say.
Appreciate the
All
honesty.
around
That's
me
why you're
are
on this podcast. Because we're all crap at podcasts.
faces, worn out places,
Worn out races. Fucking speaking of worn out races, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much, Tanvir Verdi, for joining us on the podcast. Thank you very much to Silent Mark. If you're in freeze frame mode, make sure you check out the Raw Wrestling Podcast, which is available on all good podcasting platforms, and of course beyondradio.co.uk. And for an extra dose of Silent Mark, you can check out him every Monday evening. Yes, indeed, another Monday evening with Silent Mark. He's on beyondradio.co.uk.
It's very good sometimes.
It is actually very, very good and so unbelievably calm. When you have mad anxiety and depression like I do, it's actually really cool to listen to something like that and enjoy it. It's a real pleasure. And don't forget, are you doing tomorrow? Bank Holiday Monday? Is it on tomorrow?
Of course I am.
Yay.
Excellent. There you go. Bank Holiday Monday. You can check out beyondradio.co.uk. If I can just had a seizure. Sorry, Stephen. But yeah, crikey. And also, don't forget to check out Athena Ray on socials because she's really fit and got massive tits, so I'm sure that probably counts for something. She's also got a personality. Love you. Yeah, and check out Tanvir Verdi, who I'm told will be launching a Twitch channel soon.
Hopefully soon.
I'll be watching that.
It's surely what you want to do is against terms of service.
His whole life is against terms of service. I like how he starts.
I just wasn't meant to exist.
I mean, that counts for most of us brown people, mate. Welcome to the world.
I was bred in a lab.
And of course, thank you very much to Sean McKenzie, who likes to keep it behind closed doors, but has given us the privilege of an appearance here this evening.
Yeah. He spawns in as always. He just spawns in.
Yeah,
hello!
and now I spawn out.
Yeah.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Have a wonderful evening. Don't listen to this podcast. Fucking terrible.
Right, I'm going for a wank.
Yeah,
Me too.
I got to shoot.
Yeah.